Good evening, riders, organizers, and esteemed guests. Let us pray together. Oh, Heavenly Father, we just want to give a shout of thanks to you because we know that you were the one who was with us every step of the way, organizing and planning this event. We thank you so much for the organizers, the librarians, and the planners who poured their heart and soul into this much cherished project. Thank you so much for working everything out as you did, and we give you all the honor and glory. We thank you especially for the young writers who have participated and who will participate next year. Thank you for them, O Father, and thank you for the ones that have participated and what they have created. Thank you for blessing them with your creativity so that they can create these wonderful works of art. Thank you so much for them, O Lord, and we pray that you would be here even this night, influencing and working everything out as it should be, Lord. We pray that you would bless us and bless future events and bless this team that they may continue to inspire the young riders of this competition and of these islands, Lord. We pray all of these things in your heavenly name. Amen.
Thank you. Now, what is a gathering like this without acknowledging those who have done well?
Just encourage them to write.
The teacher spoke. We are missing one more thing for the gateway to open. The hooded figure raised a silencing hand and gave a long, bellowing laugh, resonating throughout the gloomy fortress. Patience, Knox. With careful thinking, I have found the perfect vessel to power our little group project. You have, my lord? Indeed. This vessel is unlike anything I have seen in my many incarnations. A human being. If you want to hear more, read my story, Finding a Way Home. Thank you.
Thank you, young Matthew. Wow, I want to find my way home, so I'm going to get a copy of that book. Now, do you all know where to get a copy of this book? Would you like to know where to get a copy of this book? All right, stick around till the end and I'll tell you, all right? Don't go anywhere. Now, what is a gathering like this without acknowledging those who have done well? And we want to encourage and recognize those who have, made the top 24. We're going to provide them with some certificates. And coming at this time to handle this section of our evening's activity is a representative from the F Friends of the Library. And please make welcome Miss Jennifer Bodden. For the story of animal versus humans, Alex Robinson. Keep it going. Congratulations, Alex. Awesome. And this is the age group of between 10 to 13. So give it up one more time for this age group. Ashley Spencer, The Adventure of Snowflake Rosie. Would I have any paparazzi taking pictures of the young ones? Where are the parents? I thought you'd be taking those pictures. Next we have Hannah Siku, The Forest. And as Hannah makes her way back, make welcome Harry Ashworth, A New Beginning. All right, Harry, come back, Harry. Harry, come back. Turn around. There it is. Awesome. Next, we have Isabel Ashworth, The Gemma Dilemma. James Coleman, Human Nature. All right, James, now stay for your picture, James. Yes, yeah. Awesome. Janelle Smith, The Village of the Living Dead. There you go. Congrats, Janelle. Next, we have Kayla Murphy. Well, Kayla is off island, but is there any representative here for Kayla? The War of 2022? No? All right, so we acknowledge Kayla in absentia. Mandisa Moreau, The Boy Who Always Came in Third. There, that is here. Oscar Nisonen, diary entry number 363. Travaughn Turner, Camp Lullaby. Zara Majid, The Dream That May Not Have Been a Dream. Thank you so much, Jennifer, from Friends of the Library. And put your hands together one more time for all our age 10 to 13 top 24 recipient for this year. Do we have more for the 14 to 17? Here we go. Right. 14 to 17. Abrianne Cooper, Distorted Image. Daniel Cooper, Wasted. Demaris Siletine, New Beginnings. Demaris isn't here? Okay. Gabrielle Williams, also not here off island, Broken but Now Free. So we acknowledge Gabrielle in absentia. And you heard an excerpt earlier from Finding My Way Home, Johann Matthews. Maya Moore, Whispering Wind. Molly Robson, From the Other Side with Love. Sierra Webster, Red and Blue Lights. And we also heard this excerpt earlier. A Letter to My Identity Crisis, Tamia McLean. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Now, some of you may be hearing about the Cayman Young Writers the Cayman Young Writers movement for the very first time. Now, a little bit of background. The competition, seeks to recognize excellence in writing and encourages creativity and helps develop writing talent in young people between the ages of 10 to 17 years, old background areas from all across the length and breadth of the Cayman Islands. The event got started in an interview in 2021. Author Graham Morse was launching his latest book, and Karen had this wonderful idea after she invited Sam Oakley to the panel for a discussion and made a mention that, I'd like to see more children authors in Cayman. And that resonated very well with Friends of the Library and who has a mission. And so from that, they went on to bring forth this birth. Can you imagine? Just simple ideas has brought this wonderful event, an opportunity for young persons to express themselves to life. So one more time for those who sit at the table to make this event happen. Now, what's very interesting about this year's staging is they recognize that the age range this year has widened. They've had experienced at least a 75% entry from the group age of 10 to 13 years. Isn't that marvelous? Can you imagine what writing looks for the Cayman Islands and for the rest of the Caribbean and for the world? Wonderful. And again, congratulations to all the 10 to 13-year-olds. Put your hands together for them. Now, as we continue with the excerpts, I will be inviting the following persons to come accordingly. Molly Robson, and her reading is From the Other Side with Love, and followed by Ashley Spencer, The Adventure of Snowflake. Please make them welcome. Molly?
Good evening. This is From the Other Side with Love. Daisy had never seen the ocean, but she imagined it sounded like wind through the cornstalks. The hot early September sun beat down on her little clapboard farmhouse, which was surrounded by a sea of cornfields, each stalk taller than Daisy's paw. Bugs chirred from unseen locations in the long grass around the stalks, filling the silence of long summer days with their incessant song. If the air was not its usual gusty self, Daisy would often hear distant barks from the dogs of neighboring farms, echoing over the rolling hills and stirring the comfortable silence. The concept of seeing others was near unfathomable to Daisy. At 6 years old, she'd only ever been to town 3 times. It was her and her parents alone in their clapboard boat on that cornfield ocean. The sun painted the clouds with pinks and oranges that morning, the shadows of the cornstalks still long on the grass. Daisy, to her parents' chagrin, woke before the sun and was out the door before her ma had even put the coffee pot on the stove. On days like these, when school wasn't on and summer still had its grasp on the world, Daisy's imagination was limitless. All day she'd run and jump, playing hide-and-seek with the rabbits, who would always win, and racing the caterpillars, who would not. The days like today passed in pleasant similarity, each just as wonderfully mundane as the last. The sun sank below the cornstalks, darkening the shadows and sky with haste, as if the evening was on a very tight schedule and could not afford to be a moment late. A gust of wind blew through, knocking the ears of corn together and rustling their leaves like a rushing tide. Daisy, seated just by the edge of the cornfield, was startled by the sudden noise and leapt up from the ground, eyes wide and heart racing. Just the corn, she told herself. Nothing to be scared of. Something white flashed in the corner of her eye. Daisy gasped and turned quickly in the direction of it, but it was too late to catch anything. Nothing to be scared of. Another rustle. This was not the wind. Something was not right. That's all. Sorry.
All right, thank you, Molly, and I'll do the shameless plug. If you want to learn and hear more, buy the book. Next, Ashley. The Adventure of Snowflake.
Hi, my name is Ashley, and I will be speaking about my story, The Adventure of Snowflake and Rosie. It was a beautiful day, 17-year-old Snowflake and her lovable puppy Rosie were on their way to visit her dad at work. Snowflake had freckles, long blonde hair, and was wearing a purple skirt and pink top. As they walked farther down the twisted path, the fewer people they saw, Snowflake found it odd that no one was nearby. But she continued. When she arrived at the building, the door was wide open. Snowflake called out, "Anyone in there?" The place was dark, and all the lights were off. She could barely see a thing. Suddenly, a pathway of lights lit up the hallway. Rosie ran ahead of Snowflake. Snowflake called out, "Rosie, stop!" Snowflake sprinted after her. At the end of the hallway of lights, a door stood wide open. Rosie walked right into the room. When Snowflake finally caught the puppy, she paused to look at the massive machine taking up most of the space in the room. Wires wrapped around a circular metal machine, and on each side was a jar of glittering blue liquid. Signs all over the room said, "Stay 20 feet back from time machine." "So this is Dad's secret project," Snowflake whispered to herself. As they turned to go home, Rosie jumped out of Snowflake's arms and landed on the control panel. The machine began to spin, and the blue liquid turned purple. Snowflake ran to the machine and glanced at all the knobs and buttons. She pressed the off button. Suddenly, it stopped. Then a huge blast of blinding light shot out of the machine. If you want to know the rest, get the book.
Thank you. Give it up for her. Yes, as well said. Get the book. Now, I'm about to show my age, my old age. How many of you remember if you wanted to learn something, you'd have to buy a big encyclopedia set or go to the library? Put your hands up. All right, so I'm not alone in here. Thank you, Jesus. You know, the library represents a place of information, solace, and sometimes trepidation for some. Also, I don't know about you, but like sometimes boys, library would be a place to escape the mundane Saturday morning rituals for me back home. And you know, you just go there, socialize, meet bright minds back in those days. But the library here in Georgetown for us is indeed a pivotal point for development right through. You come inside, you come here, whether it be music forum, but today we want to learn more on the spoken word. And as the library remains a place of discovery, at this time I'd like to invite the acting director of the library to come and share with us more things that we can discover about this wonderful facility. So please make welcome the acting director, Mr. Kevin Goring.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize, my speech wasn't written to follow Mr. Downer's introduction. I'm here tonight to thank all of you for attending this momentous event to celebrate our young writers. I'm also happy to see so many smiling faces, and even happier to know that so many of you are interested in writing. I believe that writing is one of the truest forms of self-expression, and I commend you, all of you young writers, putting your pen to paper or your fingers to keyboards in search of stories you wish to share with the world. Many of us understand that burning desire to share our stories, and we are honored that you chose to share yours with us. So on behalf of the library, the Public Library Service, I wish to congratulate all of you young writers and aspiring authors on becoming published writers in the brand new book and solidifying your place in the world. Your hard work, your creativity, your determination is nothing short of inspiring, and we are so proud to have you amongst us this evening. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And as he returns to his seat, I'd like to do something very impromptu. Not to change the mood, but just to show or pay respect. Because I remember last year this time, my dear friend Paul was very integral in this. So if you don't mind, just as a moment of silence for respect for the memory of Paul, because I'm sure he would have loved to be here and would be delighted with the turnout. So a moment of silence, please, for the former director of the library. May his soul continue to rest in peace. And as we move on, yes, just like that. Isn't life like that? Life is very interesting, always moving. That's why it's good to live it to our best and enjoy the moments as we are enjoying this evening. The next readers who will be coming, they are Zara Majid, who will be reading The Dream That May Not Have Been, and followed by that would be Isabel Ashworth. Please make Zara welcome.
The Dream That May Not Have Been a Dream by Zara Majid. I awoke groggily. A gentle breeze caressed my face, and I gazed in wonder at the picturesque landscape around me. I had no idea where I was. In a wisp of smoke, a glowing figurine appeared. Her hair was a plethora of galactic colors and laden with stars, and her skin was as white as snow. In a low, affectionate tone, she inquired, "How do you like it here? I only allow my favorite dreamers up here." "Who are you, and why am I here?" I reciprocated, with anxious emphasis encircling my words. "You are in the land of dreams. I am Vienna, the goddess of night and dreams." As she floated off into the star-filled sky, the stars winked at me from the endless arch of void black beyond the moon's corona. In a second, she turned into smoke and disappeared. I conscientiously tried to stand and hobbled over to the nearest tree for support. My hand touched its hard bark, and a glowing mandala of my hand appeared on the tree. Effortlessly, the tree shifted, and a staircase became visible. Out of magnetic curiosity, I crept silently down the stairs. A stab of panic illuminated my chest as a figure leapt up and hugged me tightly. She had black hair with wisps of blue at the edges, and she wore a satin purple shirt with blue pants filled with stars and constellations. If you want to find out what happens in the end of the story, kindly purchase the book.
Isabel?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Isabel Ashworth, and I will be reading The Gem of Dilemma. It's the biggest shock of my life to walk into school on a grey Monday morning and see Darren Gale dead. I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. Just his lifeless, blood-splattered body sprawled across the entrance. Teachers are already on the scene, phoning 911 and futilely attempting to revive him. It's too late. He's long gone. What on earth? My best friend Beverly wails, staring wide-eyed at his body and rubbing the earlobe that got infected from her last piercing. She shakes her head, sending waves through her curls. I nod uselessly, my eyes glued to his handsome face, cut and bloody. Beverly nudges me, knocking me out of my trance, and my eyes scan the entrance hole for Phoebe, his girlfriend. I can't even begin to imagine her pain. A hand falls on my shoulder, and I turn to see Bailey, heaving a sigh. Jeez, the poor young superstar. Such a bright future ahead of him. All gone now. Bailey, I groan. He's dead. Leave your snarky comments for later. Ever since we turned 13, Bailey has hated Darren. They were best friends for years, but 2 years ago, he got popular and left his friends for new, cooler ones. Suddenly, there's a commotion at the front doors, and Phoebe flies through, her mascara smeared across her face. It's not true, is it? She croaks, and drops to her knees when she sees her boyfriend dead. The school nurse runs over to her, murmuring kind words. A science teacher yells at us to go to class like normal, and the buzzing crowd of kids starts to trickle down the corridors. Beverly and Bailey look at me. Do you want to skip? Beverly says, eyeing the open doors. We could. That's when the police burst through, ironically enough. The head one pulls a megaphone from his belt, announcing that we're not permitted to leave school grounds unless we have the permission of a teacher and officer. They start to tape up the entrance of the school and put police on duty. Detectives walk over to Darren and the teachers, and I turn back to my friends. Looks like we don't have much of an option. If you want to find out how it ends, buy the book.
Put your hands together again for them. Now, again, we like giving away things, cash and prizes, and nothing more sweeter than gadgets that you can touch and play and feel. And to help in this section of giveaways, I'm going to invite Dee Burrowes, who is a member of she's a life coach and a CYW judge. Please make her welcome. Now, the first 5 tablets will be given to the winners in the age group 10 to 13. And they are as follows. Alex Robinson, Animal versus Humans. Janelle Smith, as Alex comes, The Village of the Living Dead. Mara Mopian Brad, The Legend of Amber. Molly de Saram, The Haunting of My House. And Travaughn Turner, Camp Lullaby. Now for the 14 to 17 recipients. Abrian Cooper, Distorted Image. Daniel Cooper, Wasted. Maya Moore, Whispering Wind. Molly Robson, From the Other Side with Love. And Demaris Celestine, New Beginnings. Demers is not here. Okay, thank you. Demers isn't here. Thank you, Dee. We continue with our reading. Coming up next, we have Daniel Cooper, Wasted, and he will be followed by Maya Moore, Whispering Wind. Please make Daniel welcome.
Good evening. I'm Daniel Cooper. My name is Daniel Cooper, and I'll be sharing an excerpt on my story, Wasted. A week passed, and people were still talking about his game. His parents scraped money together to buy his dream car, a second-hand Tesla that he had been begging for months. Excitedly on his way to the second-hand car dealership, Derek stopped at a convenience store to get a snack, then decided to call an Uber rather than walk the remaining 4 miles there. He was eating and waiting on an outside bench when all of a sudden, gunshots were fired. He saw a man in a black ski mask with a gun run into an alley, leaving a body lying on the ground. "Hey, stop! Get back here!" Derek yelled as he started running after him. After a moment when he saw it was impossible to catch up, he ran back and checked to see if the white man who was lying on the ground was okay. Derek realized that he had been shot and was struggling for breath. He shouted for help, but shop doors were closed and the street had quickly emptied when shots had been fired. He tried saving him, tried pressing on his chest, giving him CPR, but he couldn't. His fingers covered in blood, Derek realized belatedly that the hard thing he was kneeling on was a gun. In panic, he threw it away from him. It was the first time he had touched the gun, and he was shaken. But even in his panicked state, he knew he needed to focus on the man. So he pushed his hand into a pocket where there was the bulky outline of a wallet. Derek needed to know who this was, needed to provide a name when he called 911. The wallet was thick, filled with bills, but Derek disregarded the notes as he searched for an ID. The license he pulled out revealed the victim was a 24-year-old. A life wasted, was Derek's thought, as he was suddenly, roughly pulled away. Someone must have called the cops as they had arrived on the scene. Derek, now a sobbing mess, was questioned, told to leave, and to let the police continue from there. He didn't buy the car that day, but stumbled home, still sobbing, as he fell into his mother's arms and told her everything. She finally got him to sleep, worrying, as she knew far more than he what could happen when a white man was killed in a black neighborhood. What happened to Derek in the end? Purchase the book to find out.
Thank you. Intriguing indeed. Maya, make her welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Mia Moore, and I will be reading my story, Whispering Wind. The sun stood high in the sky, only showing itself through the crevices in between the leaves of the trees. Anthony reached out, his small arm patterned with the abnormal shapes of light dazzling through the leaves. He continued through the dense forest, watching the butterflies fly all about while the birds sang their songs in the distance. Coming closer to the sound of water, his pace quickened. Just as he was about to reach the source of the sound, he heard, "Anthony, where are you?" His mother's voice. He hurried back in the direction of her voice, her calls becoming more and more frantic as she searched for the boy. "Anthony, what did I say about the west side of the forest?" She stooped to his level, gripping his shoulders tightly with wide eyes. "That I stay away?" His voice trailed off, slightly wavering at the thought of having disappointed his mother. Seeing the boy's saddened expression, she softened her gaze, pulling him into her as she hugged him gently while beginning to stroke his chestnut brown hair. "My son, you must never go to the west side of the forest," she stated as she picked him up and carried him to their quaint cottage. "Why?" asked the boy, as curious as a child could be. "Some things are yet to be explained to you. When you are older, you shall understand." Later during the day, when the sun lazily sat on the horizon, reaching through the sky with orange hues, Anthony's mother called out to him, "Son, I have to deliver these strawberries to your grandmother. I will be back before nightfall." She kissed his head before making her way out, her basket full of ruby red strawberries. He watched her from the doorframe as she made her way down the pathway into the village where his grandmother stayed. He remained in the doorframe until he spotted a lone cat at the forest's edge. Anthony began to chase the cat, giggling all the while he ran, his curls bouncing with every step. He trailed the cat until it crossed the stream using mossy stones, seemingly placed as a bridge. Anthony attempted to cross it with no hesitation, but to his surprise, the moss covering the stones made them very slippery, causing his foot to slide, landing him in the stream, which carried his tiny body effortlessly. The struggle began, the latter winning, undoubtedly. He fought with all his might against the stream, which soon turned into a river, with more anger fuming in its waters. Almost as if the boy's presence induced such a fury the river could not fathom him occupying it. Anthony would soon lose his battle to the water, one he was destined to lose. His small frame never stood a chance against the hands of the mighty river's water. Find out what happens next in the book.
By the end of the night, you all must know the end of those lines. I would like to add my own. Buy 3, get the 4th free. Right? So buy 3 and get the 4th free. Now we go into our top 3 trophies and cash prizes. Yay, interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time. Who has the secret envelope? Are they? Yes. The auditors verified yes, so it's sealed. All right, so I'm nervous, guys. Cash prize and trophies. Woo! Make some noise for our 3rd place winners. In the category age group 10 to 13, Travaughn Turner, Camp Lullaby. Woo! Go, Travaughn. And still in the 3rd place, in the age group category 14 to 17, make some more noise for Danielle Cooper, Wasted. Last year was the inaugural year. And there was a young man who came out on top. And one of the things that surprised me with that article, that piece, when I listened to it, was what does he know about liquor? He talked about scotch. And I would like to find out, from his parents, what does he know about drinking? But that's a different conversation. Last year's winner came from the John Gray High School. This young man is, I don't know what to say about him. He's intelligent, he's smart, he loves giving back to the community, but he loves words, he loves writing, he loves expression. He's very creative in nature. And so last year's winner, he's coming at this time to do his reading from last year. And please make welcome the 2021 Cayman Young Writers winner, Jelani Hanson, as he reads Adelaide. Come on, keep it going for Jelani.
Good evening. Last year I wrote a story called called Adelaide. Yeah, I'm gonna read it for you. Forgive me though if I sound a bit strange when I read it. It kind of doesn't sound the same when you read it aloud. It's best if you read it, but it's fine. A train car rolled past the lush green bushes and pale azure skies. The Geneva countryside was a blur to me as I sluggishly looked through the window while clutching a half-empty glass of Macallan 1926 whiskey. Gentle jazz music crackled as it wafted from the horn of a gramophone, dancing with the quiet sound of bustle from people in the other cars of the luxury train. Mr. Beaumont? Irritated, I turned my head to look at the waiter. Yes? I was asking if you're ready to move on to an entree. We're serving a Mediterranean paella with saffron rice, Swiss seared lamb with cucumber raita, and naan bread, and a Polynesian braised pork salad. He whipped out a notebook and a pen. I sighed deeply, polished off the last of the whiskey, and rested the glass on the mahogany table. I'll take the lamb, medium well, and you can keep the raita. The waiter keenly took notes and was about to bow and turned to leave when I continued. And for the lady, the Polynesian pork salad. For a split second, the waiter's eyebrows furrowed and his eyes darted around the cabin. Then he closed the notebook, picked the glass up from the table, turned on his heel, and disappeared through the door. I had taken a back seat from the public eye, leaving the United States to tour Europe for some time, although my family disagreed with that choice. Despite not having the most private life, I didn't tell the news much other than an incident occurred. Most speculated that it was the pressure that accompanied fame and power, but really and truly, only I knew. For now, at least. I knew the news was willing to do anything for a story. Adelaide, I murmured. We'll be stopping in Geneva in about an hour and a half. I know it's your favorite city. I'm sure you're eager to revisit it. I clasped her hands and traced circles into the back of her hand with my index finger. Then I leaned back into the chair, focusing on the song playing and losing myself in the rich bass line and the hoarse voice of Louis Armstrong. Adelaide and I had selected all the songs off this compilation. The most was Addie, seeing as her vinyl collection was much larger than mine. I could see it when I closed my eyes. A mosaic of 1960s and 70s album covers from Chris Connor to Billie Holiday to Louis Armstrong to Ella Fitzgerald. We had an entire wall designated to our vinyl record collection, and we'd almost finished. And the cares that hung around me through the week seemed to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. Mr. Beaumont, here's the lamb, no raita, with naan, and here's the Polynesian braised pork salad. The waiter set down 2 gold-rimmed plates, lifting a food close and releasing steam into the air. Would you like something else to drink, other than whiskey? The waiter briefly leered at the 2 empty quarter-pint bottles of alcohol sitting by the window. I shook my head and picked up my knife and fork, and the waiter vanished from the train car. At the same time, the stringed arpeggio outro of Cheek to Cheek melted into a slow and bouncy instrumental, accompanied by fluttering, buttery smooth singing and harmonized backup vocals. I ate dinner peacefully to the sounds of instruments slow dancing through the air. Those happy hours I spent with you, that lovely afterglow, most of all, I miss you so. Addie, aren't you hungry? I asked, poking at my meal. You're barely touching your food. I emptied the remaining contents of my half-finished whiskey into a glass from the cupboard behind my head. The view from the window had slurred from the countryside outskirts of Valence, France, into the surrounding villages of Geneva, Switzerland in what seemed like an hour, but maybe that was the whiskey talking. Mr. Beaumont, the waiter called again. We've arrived. Welcome to Geneva, Switzerland. The limousine is here to take you to the Geneva Central Hotel. The lobby of the hotel was all too familiar. It blended into a dining area where a live band coaxed sweet hums out of instruments to the rhythmic clinking of metal on china or glass on glass. Heads in the lobby turned when I stepped in hand with Adelaide, but could you really blame them? Ah, Frederick Beaumont, the front desk attendant said cheerfully. Then his tone became somber. I heard you lost your wife. I'm so sorry for your loss. I could feel my blood boiling as it all flooded back into my head. Adelaide collapsing in my arms, her chest heaving slowly as I caught her. We'd brushed it off and drank the night away, but it repeated itself week after week after week. That blasted Dr. Stevenson overlooked every sign I told her about. Addie never wanted to eat, claiming that all she needed was the golden brown nectar that was whiskey. She went from strong and curvaceous to frail and angular in under a month. Under a month. In my head, I replayed the time I'd walked into her room clutching doctor's orders in my hand, only to see her limp on the floor, surrounded by glass shards and that same golden brown nectar soaking into the carpet, painfully scored by crackling jazz playing from the gramophone. It wouldn't leave my head. All I could see was her, her, her. I lunged over the front desk, swinging my arms at the front desk attendant. Nothing mattered anymore. Her. Just her. She was still here. Somewhere. I rained punches on the attendant. He shielded his face from my view. Her. Hands gripped my sides and tugged me from over the front desk. Her. I felt tears sting on my eyes as the security guards took hold of me. Suddenly, my visions of her faded from my mind, and the loneliness set in right as the band started a new song. Every time we say goodbye, I wonder why the gods above me, who must be in the know, think so little of me, they allow you to go. Thank you.
Yeah, one more time for Jelani. All right, so this wasn't planned. All right? Yes, no, I'm Sean, not oh God, don't worry. Jelani, it's been a year. Tell us, in the context of this competition, how has it enhanced or changed your life, and where are you now in your writing endeavors?
Well, to be honest, if it wasn't for this competition, this story would not have existed, because the idea for it, I hadn't planned to flesh out until I had heard that this competition was going to happen. So as a direct result of being in this competition, I think my writing has improved. This is my favorite story of mine ever. And yeah.
How long did it take you to write this story?
To write it might have taken a week.
A week?
Considering like some of the days were spent just going through and correcting like minor errors with my parents and stuff.
So were these places you traveled and drinks you had? How tell us about that.
No, when I was writing it, I wanted to give it like this air of like luxury. So I looked up expensive whiskey on Google, and that's how I got it.
All right, thank you for sharing that with us. One more time for 2021 winner Jelani Hanson. You see, that's the reason why I don't write, I talk. Or try to. All right, now we get to recognize our second place winners. And I'm going to invite the acting director, Mr. Kevin Goring, to come at this time to take us through. Please make him welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll read and he'll hand them out. All right. The second place winner for this year, the age group 10 to 13, please give it up for Janelle Smith. The Village of the Living Dead. Come on, keep the applauses going. And it doesn't stop there. For the age group 14 to 17, who do you think it is? Say Sean. Yeah. Give it up for Molly Robson. I'm so sorry. The Other Side of Love. Thank you so much, Mr. Goring, for your kind services. Please give it up again for our second place winners for this year. And we are coming down, ladies and gentlemen, parents, friends, family, and well-wishers. It is that time. I have the envelope. Yes, and we are within time. I'll take a sneak peek. It says first place. That's correct. So no Steve Harvey moment for me tonight. Absolutely none. As you heard, it takes much. And the contestants or the authors, it's just been an amazing melting pot this evening. Wouldn't you say? A true representation of this island that many of us call home, the Cayman Islands. You see the diversity, you hear the different thoughts, even though the themes are similar, but you sense the creativity. And we just want to, let's put our hands together again for all the winners and the participants in this year. Let me also say thanks to the parents and to the school teachers and everyone who pushed and prodded and encouraged. You also played a part, so continue to do what you do. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. And as you've noticed the trend, we have 2 categories for first place winners. And in the category, age group 10 to 13, drum roll please. First place goes to Molly de Saram, The Haunting of My House. Come on, make some noise for Molly. Congratulations, Molly. Now, I can tell you that if I don't have on my glasses, I think I see shadows. So my image is not clear. And so in the category for this 14 to 17 age group, with the story called Distorted Image, our first place goes to Abrianne Cooper. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. But before you go, just allow me to remind you of something that's very important. So if you intend and would like to enter next year, here are some of the rules to enter for 2023. The writer must make the submission. Story must be written by the child entering the competition. Submission must be made via email. When the competition is open to, you send your email to caymanyoungwriters@gmail.com. The completed submission form must accompany all submission. The competition is open only to youngsters in the Cayman Islands. So for those who look anything like me, yeah, you don't qualify. I'm only young in my head, but not in age. All right, so the ages, the categories, as you've maybe heard tonight, is between 10 to 13 years and 14 to 17 years. And just a little bit more guide, word limit for the 10 to 13 years is anywhere between 500 to 800 words, while for the 14 to 17 years, the word limit is anywhere a low minimum of 1,000 words to 1,500 words, not including the title, word, the biography, references, or footnote, or hyphenated words counted as one. All right, so those are some things to bear in mind. An entrance, like you say, must be within the age limit. So please, as you can see this evening, it's a wonderful affair. It encourages thinking, creativity, development, and it gives us a chance to come together as a community. So if you want to enter again next year, those who are in the 10 to 13 range and you now qualify for the 14 to 17 range, put your hand in the ring again. Go out there wherever you get your inspiration, on the beach, watching Netflix, whatever you do, surfing wherever, but keep writing because we want to share your journey with you. And remember what I said, buy 3, get the 4th one free. At this time, I'm going to put her on the spot. She didn't plan for this. I know she didn't, but I'm going to invite Karen to come with the vote of thanks. We want to thank all the sponsors and the supporters. Where are you, Lady Karen? She's hiding. No, she's not. I'm standing beside you. We want to thank our sponsors, Island Photos, Cayman Literary Society, Cayman Islands Public Library Service, Friends of the Library, CLM Publishing. We also want to thank all our judges. Now let me share with you who the judges are for this year. Judges for the 10 to 13 age group, Michelle Brooke, Wallace Platts, Patricia Hanson, Stephanie Fullerton-Cooper, and Nicola Galvin. And for the 14 to 17 age, we had Mike Pfeiffer, Peter Paul, Noel Wallace, Erica Gordon, and Dee Burrowes. So let's give our hands together for the judges who had the enviable task of selecting our winners for this year. Karen? Oh, there it is. All right. Come with me. Come, Karen. Come. You're not getting away. Come. Yeah, I know. Guys, if you don't see me ever again after today, you know why. Right? I'm dead. How was it for you? Did you enjoy tonight's event?
Yes. Thank you all, parents and supporters. I'm really impressed with the turnout tonight, and I'm glad that you came to support the kids as well, as much as the event.
And what one thing would you like the parents to leave here tonight knowing about this vision of yours?
I was on this same stage when I was asked the question, what one thing? So let's see if I can get a fresh idea. Just encourage them to write, and they have to read as much as they want to write. I would say just keep writing. If they notice the emails, always come back with keep writing, because that is when you increase what you're doing. As a published author myself, I just keep writing.
And why is it for you so important to capture thoughts and have it published?
Something that say we were here. The next generation will know that we were here. That's one of the main things for me, we were here. But I think that you overlook Jennifer. She was to talk about the Friends of the Library. So I think that's...
No, I've not overlooked her. This is her trying to get out of it. See Jennifer saying no. So she's looking company because she's one of those stalwart who likes to work behind the scene. But we all need to appreciate and see who it is that's doing what we are here, experiencing tonight. So one more time again for Karen. All right. And Jennifer, you're not escaping. Come. Now, as Jennifer comes, Jennifer would like to see all the 2nd place and 3rd place winners after this. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Please see her. Please tell us a little bit more about FOL.
FOL is the Friends of the Library. We are a nonprofit organization, and part of our mission is to support local authors through the purchase of books and through the publication of tonight's book. So it's been great to have 24 new young local authors published.
Awesome. And how can persons get involved with FOL?
Oh, good question. You can reach out to me.
And where do they find you?
Come see me afterwards.
All right, no problem. So there it is. See her afterwards tonight. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Jennifer. Please give it one more time. And is it okay for me to call Dr. Cooper up to talk about literary? Just a quick conversation. Yeah, we're still within 15 minutes of library closing. I know, right? But you're always ready. Tell us who you are and what you do as it pertains to literature.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Fullerton-Cooper. I'm a lecturer in literature and language at the University College of the Cayman Islands. I am also associated with this competition in that I am one of the founding members of the Cayman Literary Society, where we seek to promote writing, reading, literacy among Cayman's youth especially. I'm particularly proud tonight because both of my children placed in the competition. Very proud of them. Continue to encourage them to read, to write, to just indulge in what they enjoy. And I think for just about all of the students or the children who participated, writing is their passion. They clearly have a talent, and we seek to develop that talent in multiple ways.
Thank you. Well said. I thank you for coming up here and standing beside me so gracefully and eloquently. Give it up again for Dr. Cooper, everyone. Close the door. Write with no one looking over your shoulder. Don't try to figure out what other people want to hear from you. Figure out what you have to say. It's the one and only thing you ever have to offer. Barbara King Solver. That's a quote from her. So as you leave here this evening, find that voice, continue to write, and let's hear what you have to say. Thank you for coming out. It's been a pleasure being your MC this evening. Go ahead. How do you buy the book? So someone was listening and remembered. Yes. And that was what Karen came up here for. But Karen will tell us, you can speak to Karen afterwards to get the book. The books are available, should be available locally. But you all love it so much. More is on its way. But remember, what I said remains true. You buy 3, you get what? Say that again, buy 3. Yes, but Karen, the books are being sold for $20. You get, it's a hard copy. And I know the current supply is very ration. So please speak with Karen immediately afterwards because it's been going like hot bread. But thank you for that question. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, friends and loved ones of the Cayman Islands, I bid you adieu. Go safely. Refreshments are provided at the back. Mingle a little. The library has to close by 7:30. Speak to the young authors. Buy the book. Get them to autograph it for you in their own handwriting so you can keep it as a memorabilia. Also, we want to say thanks to First Baptist, as many of the entrants in this year's competition came from that school. So they are pushing the competition. So we invite all the other schools next year, beat First Baptist, all right? So get the word spread and let's start the competition, all right? Spread the word, Cayman Prep, down Cayman Bay, yes, all the high schools, yes, let's get the competition going. All right, drive safe everyone, and remember to get your copy. And again, thank you for being here. Have a good night.